Author and nutritionist Robert Ferguson. Please welcome Robert Ferguson.
All right, y'all, let's hear it for America's Fat Lost Coach, Robert Ferguson!
Hello and welcome back to The Healthy Truth, and I am more than excited and delighted to have my man, someone I've known for many years. I'll say master, the one and only, Willie Bam Johnson. How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm blessed, sir. How are you?
I am good. And you know, it's so cool to have you on because for so many reasons, aside from the fact that you're your inspiration for all people, you are one of those people that any young kid who wants a better life and live their best life, you're like a demonstration of how that's all possible. So if you wouldn't mind, kind of give like, 'cause I know you're from Baltimore, Maryland, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So give people who don't know you a little bit of background, you know, all the way up to the fact that you're doing documentaries, you're a Hall of Famer, all of that.
Well, I mean, started for me, you know, a little kid, 6 years old, going to see Bruce Lee, and being inspired by the movie Chinese Connection. I always tell people it was that one moment because my parents were overprotected. So my mom would never let me go anywhere. I was always with mommy and daddy. But during that moment of, you know, being protected by mommy and daddy, there was a lot of things happening to me as a kid that, you know, many people don't realize happen to many kids, you know, being molested, dealing with, you know, mental, you know, trauma, all these things that was happening around me in my own household and my parents didn't know was happening from family members. So, but I was always good with shielding my pain or my struggle from my parents. When I looked at my parents and I already seen the struggle they were going through to try to provide the best life for me and my sister and, you know, and the family, I always had this little, you know, protective energy and awareness where I would not tell my mom or my dad to increase their pain. And, you know, through all of these things that's happening, I'm 6 years old. My parents let me go to a movie theater at the age of 6. And as the first time I got a chance to go away from them and I went to a movie theater back in the day. Anybody remember movie theaters back then when you was going to see Chinese movies, Kung Fu movies, black exploitation movies? It was like people all the way down the street, man, lines all around the corner. And I went in and I seen that movie, man. And when I looked at that man on that screen, I didn't see that man. I seen me. I seen hope. I seen something that all the things that was happening to me that I was fighting through, it was a chance for me to stand up and be a hero. To be a hero to so many other people, even at 6 years old, because I knew that I didn't want somebody else to go through that. And Bruce Lee inspired me from that day forth, man. I came out that movie theater and started making nunchakus. Anybody know anything about that back in the day? And, you know, taking the broomsticks, making nunchakus, practicing anything that entailed martial arts. You know, going to movies. I mean, back then you can go to a movie theater and now my parents trusted me. I go to the movie theater and just sit in the movie theater all day, man. Sometime I would cut school just to see them Kung Fu movies. And that was my teacher. And it inspired me to just believe that maybe martial arts can help me break the cycle and get out of the negative community. And as I continue to do that and walk the streets of Baltimore, I mean, you didn't have professional dojos back then. People didn't really understand the benefits of martial arts back then. But at a young age, I understood what it meant to me. It really connected to, you know, my church upbringing and what was happening when I would go to church and how it made me feel so, you know, so blessed and so connected to something higher. And martial arts was that higher thing, man. And that just led me to hanging out in the library, stealing black belt karate magazines, official karate magazines, anything that had martial arts, I was stealing it, man. And not stealing it because I wanted to be a thief. I was taking it because I just needed hope. It was the one thing that allowed me to see past, you know, the things that was personally happening to me. And one of the things I like to really clarify, my parents weren't drug addicts or they weren't gangsters. My parents were good people. My dad was a trash man and he took care of the family. My mom was a good mom who was handicapped, and they did whatever they can do. When you look at the life I had, you know, compared to that environment, we were rich. You know, we got what we wanted, but it was just those inner things that was happening within the family dynamics that made me have so much pain and you know, and my mind and my trauma and all those things that I was going through. Martial arts just continued to allow me to do that, and I just set a sight to one day be able to become a world champion, like people like Cynthia Rothrock and Billy Blanks and all those people that was becoming. And those things saved my life. And, you know, I had this creative talent where I could go out and some of the things I would do to get through my pain, I would write. And I would write these letters to, I don't know where it came from, man. I was like, man, let me write these letters to people and hopefully hope somebody would give me money so I can get on go to a tournament. So I remember writing these letters and I sent them out to McDonald's and 7-Eleven and you know, social service people. And guess what? They started sponsoring me at a young age, man. I guess
now how old were you when you started doing that?
I was like 12 and 13, man. I started writing these letters, man, and people started answering back and they started, you know, sponsoring me. And by the age of 16, I was on a bus heading to New York City to the All-American Championships, SMHO's championships, man. That was my first tournament, my first time leaving the city of Baltimore. My parents didn't know where I was at. Imagine back then, that's New York. Remember the Warriors, the movie The Warriors?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
I was so scared, but I wanted a life different so bad that I had enough courage to get on that bus, man. And I got off that bus. I didn't realize that Madison Square Garden was right down the street. So I get the cab. They take me all around the block. And then I come to find out it's right down the street. And I go to that tournament. I met one of my heroes and won the tournament, man. Ron Van Cleef, the Black Dragon.
No way. So you know Ron?
Oh, man, that's one of my heroes, man. That's the story in itself right there, man.
Well, you know, I'm good friends with Ron too. Well, I mean, we both share a lot of the same friends, but I want to take a step back because your story is so fascinating, man. Like it's so inspiring for people who don't know about martial arts and don't know who Willie Bam Johnson is. Let's take a step back but let's go forward and then reverse it. You have been on TV, WMAC Masters, talk about some of the things that you have going on in the past that you did, you know, Black Belt Hall of Fame, documentary, author. Brag about yourself just for a second. And then I want to go back and I got some questions on some of the things that you brought up. So do me a favor and brag, because you know you're a over the top humble guy, but brag just for 2 minutes.
Sorry, man. I'm sorry. I mean, I'd been to China. I was one of the first African Americans to get certified in mainland China in 1985. And I was recognized as one of the best, you know, African American martial artists to train in China. So I got all these crazy awards, and I was able to teach at the Beijing Physical Culture Institute, Shaolin Temple. You know, I set a goal coming back from there, became a world champion, 7-time world champion. On the cover of Karate Illustrated with my man Richie Brandon, on the cover of, you know, Black Belt magazine.
I remember you and Richie. I remember that.
I mean, cover. I mean, it's incredible. That same cover was in the Biggie Smalls movie called The Notorious B.I.G. And they said that article, because it talked about my transformation from negativity, it was an inspiration for Biggie. That's why they put it in the jail cell. If you ever go back and look at the movie, that cover is right there. And I mean, it's just,
I saw it when I watched the movie. I saw that.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's so many things, man. But I think the most important thing, I mean, yeah, I was on TV. My dream did come true. I didn't get a chance to meet Bruce Lee, but I got a chance to work with Bruce Lee's daughter on WMAC Masters. I mean, so anybody that has a dream, man, and you're going through whatever, hold on to that dream and don't let nothing stop me from all the negative things I had to overcome. I was able to manifest that dream and work with some of the best, Chuck Norris, all of my heroes. And now I think the greatest thing is just to now see my kids out there doing, and my students, some of the most sought after Hollywood celebrities and stars. And man, to me, that's bigger than anything. I mean, just being a good dad and going back to the same community. I'm sorry, but you got me like, because I don't do any of this stuff to try to be famous, man. I just do it because I just don't want any kid to ever go through what I went through, man. That's why I do what I do. I just want some kid to see, don't quit, don't give up. And I want some parent to see, regardless of what you think your kid is doing, sometimes try to be there and try to understand them and listen to them. And, you know, maybe you can catch and prevent some of the things that my parents know. Even in my new documentary, I kind of like talk about, whew, bro, you got me going here, man. I talk about my dad, man, and how my dad he never knew that those things happened to me. And if he did know it, he would have hurt somebody. And the only way my dad would ever know that those things happened when he was around is by seeing that documentary. And I don't say that because I had bad parents. I say that because my parents did the best they can possibly do. And I am a manifestation of a woman on welfare and a man that threw trash cans. Whew, man.
Well, let's do this for a second. I want to take a break because, you know, your story again is more than inspiration. And so we're gonna take a break and then we'll come right back.